It's Friday and we're talking adoption.
We'll get the conversation started.
Right here on Foster Life. Here on Foster Life. Are you ready for the weekend?
Oh, I'm beyond ready for the weekend.
Are you?
Yep, I've actually got plans for this weekend.
You do?
So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
We've had a long week here because we had the Jeep stolen.
Yes.
Then we found the Jeep. Then we had sick kids, double ear infections, and all of that.
I heard you were starting to get some of the crud.
Yeah,
too.
so then I had some of the crud. Then we had the attorney on Wednesday and had all of that stuff. And then it's just been a busy week. And then we have First Steps that comes into the house for all that.
Yes.
We have their annual review yesterday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And
Oh,
I have
Lord.
10 kids. Who schedules a meeting for 8 o'clock in the morning when you have 10 kids?
Right.
Exactly, right? What are you going to do this weekend?
I'm going to play some basketball for the first time in probably 3-4 years.
You're playing basketball?
Hey, I'm going to try to. I mean, try is a big word there.
You're not going to have like a heart attack on me or anything like that. I really kind of need you for the show.
Oh, I know.
So like, don't break nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Don't have any heart attacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. Have you been doing athletic stuff or?
I went on a walk probably 3 or 4 weekends ago. But hey, a walk, I went 7 miles, and let me tell you, I was sore, but I think I can make it through at least half of the.
Oh my gosh. He went on a walk for 7 miles, and we had to shoot a show the next day. And I'm going to tell you, it was like grandma. It was like shooting a show with my grandma that's like 95 years old because he could barely move. And
I could barely get up out of the chair.
Yeah, and he was all tired and everything.
But hey, I'm going to get better. I'll get better.
So we have the Beushausen here today to talk about their adoptive story. And I tell you what, I've talked on the phone with them. I've read their story, and I hope that their story will encourage you during your adoption journey if you're currently in the middle of adoption. If you're thinking about adoption, I hope that this story somehow encourages you. And if you're just watching, just to watch because we have viewers out there, I hope that you'll just find joy in this adoption story. I love. I love Adoption Day.
Yes.
I had a lady email me. She's had 467 kids. She watches us all the time. So she's had fostered 460 some kids. She's adopted like 11 kids. She watches us all the time, but she loves the adoption stories. And if you're watching, hey, thanks for sending us the message. That encourages us and that keeps us inspired to keep doing what we're doing. So we'll be talking to the Beushausen when we come back right after this.
On Foster Life.
From meth to reunification, Patty's going to be right here to share her story.
The conversation starts here on Foster Life.
I love talking adoptions, and we do this twice a month on Fridays. And if you have an adoption story that you would like to share and you want to come be a part of our studio in Springfield, Missouri, I would love to hear from you. If you have an adoption story and you're outside of Missouri and you would like us to come to your city, Tristan and I will be on a 15-city tour this summer, and we'd love to come film your adoption story in your city, and so we can do that as well. Just email me at producer.fostertv@gmail.com. So I'm going to mess up your name.
Okay.
So what is it?
Beushausen.
Beushausen. Beushausen.
Beushausen.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit, how did you get started in the foster world?
Well, I have a weird story because when my sister was 18, she had my nephew, and I was her Lamaze coach. And after watching her give birth, I walked out and said, "I'm never doing that. I'll adopt." No, thank you. That is not, no.
So, and was it at that point that you decided that you wanted to foster?
No, I actually had never even thought of fostering, but in 2014, about time for New Year's resolutions, I kept thinking about New Year's resolutions and how they're very self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could take just one and make it about someone else.
Right.
So I started thinking, what could I do? And fostering popped in my head, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know if I'm cut out for that.
Right.
But every time I thought about it, that's what I came back to. So I thought, well, I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I can back out if I want to.
Right.
And ended up taking classes and kept thinking, are they trying to talk me out of it?
Uh-huh.
Because they give me what worst case scenario.
Oh, yeah. The whole time.
Which better prepared me, but scared me. And
Right.
I went through the classes and was licensed in December of 2015 and got my first foster in January.
Okay, so when you talk about, so how did you take that first step? Like, who did you contact? Because a lot of our viewers don't even know who to contact.
That's about the number one question, actually.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I Googled fostering in Missouri.
Okay.
And the first website that came up was for Lutheran Family and Children's Services here in Springfield. And I contacted them, and they were fabulous. They have been fabulous to work with.
Good.
They made the whole transit, they made everything easy for me.
One of my best friends works there.
I love them.
I'm going to give a shout out. We love Damaris. I don't know if you know her.
Yes, she's my licensing worker.
Oh, yes. Damaris, she's our baby mama. She brought me two of my babies that I adopted. And her and her husband have become very good friends of ours.
Yes.
And so we love Damaris.
I do too.
And we love Lutheran Services as well. So you contacted them. Now, did you do your classes through Lutheran then?
I did.
Okay, cool.
I did.
And about how long did that take?
It took about, I want to say 3 months total to go through all of it. It was pretty long, but I appreciated it because it taught me a ton.
Right.
And gave me information I had no idea about.
Right. And one thing that you pointed out before we get to your adoption story that I think is interesting is when you do those trainings, it is kind of scary because they give you a lot of curveballs, so to speak, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, how would I handle that and how would I do that and stuff. So
Yeah.
Could I even handle myself in a situation like that?
Right,
I can ask
exactly.
myself.
And I was thinking, oh man, I gotta have a whole lot more patience than I got right now if I'm gonna do this. So, but I think that's kind of good. So you get your first placement, and was that your adoption?
Yes, that's my first adoption, and I just remember when she first came, I didn't sleep well the first couple of weeks because I was like, oh, what if she's a runner? What am I going to do if she's a runner?
Right.
And I was scared to death.
So how old was she?
16.
16 years old.
Yes, and when I got the call, her caseworker was telling me about her, told me she was a great girl, she just wanted to be part of a family that loved her. I'm like, well, I can do that. And I asked how old she was, and they said 16. I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that.
Right. As we've talked in other shows, really after 12, it's really hard to find families.
Yeah.
And a lot of times our parents won't take in the older kids. And we are always looking for foster families that will take in the older kids. So how's your experience been?
It's been awesome.
Okay.
I actually And I've told her this over and over again. I feel like I hit the lottery because she's always been really good, a little bit attitudey, but 16.
She's 16. Come on.
So yeah, I mean, it's been great.
Good.
And we adopted in June of 2017.
Cool. Well, we're going to talk more about that process up into the adoption and how you both knew you were ready right after this. Today, from meth to reunification, Patty's going to be right here to share her story.
The conversation starts here on Foster Life.
We're talking adoption today on Foster Life with Tristan. And so you got your 16-year-old.
Yes.
What was one of the stories that happened with your 16-year-old?
Well, the one she hates the most, and she will hate for me telling this, but I'm going to tell it anyway because I find it funny now. I was at work, and I get a call from her. She's freaking out. She's saying, "Mom, someone broke in the house, and they trashed my bedroom." And I'm like, "What do you mean they trashed your bedroom?" She's like, "There's stuff everywhere." And I said, "Well, how about the rest of the house?" "No, it's fine." So I'm thinking, yeah, something's not right here.
Right.
So I told her I said, well, for safety precautions, I said, leave the house, go to the neighbor's house, take your phone, and wait there until I get home. On my way over there, I called my dad, who worked not too far away, and asked him to come meet me. Told him what was going on. And we get there, and we walk in, and of course I look at her room, and I'm thinking, this looks staged.
Uh-huh.
So, what I didn't know is my dad had called the police on the way there.
Ooh.
So about that time, they show up, and they come in, and they're looking around, and the police officer is like, it doesn't look like there's any break-in.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I said, well, I kind of thought so. And I asked Jordan at that time, I said, is there something you need to tell me? Because now would be the time to say it.
Right.
No, I promise. I didn't do anything. Okay. Police left. They offered to put extra patrol on. I was like, it's okay. And I was making dinner, and I had her come and grate some cheese, and I said, before the police come back and do fingerprints and all their investigative stuff, not that they were, I said, is there something you need to tell me? I said, because we don't want to file a false police report.
Right.
And she's like, no. I didn't say no word, and then about 5 minutes later, she's like, well, now that I think about it, I might have done that when I was looking for my school badge this morning. And I said, well, I appreciate you being honest with me now, but your room was not like that when you left. I said, so what happened? Why did you do that? And then she told me that, I said, what was going through your mind to make you do that? Her birth mom had contacted her via Facebook, and she was afraid that she was going to show up on her front porch and take her. I had to explain her, she doesn't know where we live.
Right.
She doesn't know who I am or my name. And then we went through what choice we could have made instead of that to, not involve the police and why we don't involve the police. And then I told her she was going to have to confront those police officers and apologize to their face.
Right.
And she was mortified.
But it was kind of a sweet story in the sense, because when I'm thinking, and I don't know if this is, I don't know, Jordan, but what I'm thinking is that she probably felt like you're her security, and so if you came home, everything would be safe and secure, and so then that way she did. So it's actually kind of a sweet story in a lot of ways. Funny, but it's very sweet. So I have to know, who popped the question? Did you ask her, or did she ask you?
We talked about it together. I knew when she came to live with me that she wanted to be adopted. So, and I said, well, let's give it 6 months and see how we do, and then we'll go from there. But it really didn't take long for us to decide, yeah, this is where we're going to go.
Mm-hmm. So how long do you think it took?
For us to decide,
Uh-huh.
well, I'd say 3 months.
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
months. It's really interesting to me. All of our kids, they knew really quick. Like, you know, they
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I want to be a part of this family," and that type of thing. And it was kind of like, I mean, we were good with that, but it was kind of also really thinking about, wow, this is, you know,
Yeah.
forever, and this is going to be happening, and that type of thing. What kinds of thoughts did you have from then coming up to the adoption?
I was just excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Once we made the decision, I was excited about it. She was excited about it. I'm like, she's going to be mine for real and legally. And
Right.
I mean, I was just worried. My concern was more worried that she would change her mind
Uh-huh.
than anything.
Right. And, you know, a lot of times at that age, we found with our boys that they kind of, there's times, I don't want you to adopt me. And then the next day they're like, oh, I want you to adopt me. So, but was the path, like right before the adoption, was that rocky at all, or was it pretty smooth all the way up?
No, we had some pretty explosive moments.
Mhm.
The last one was right after Christmas, and we call them meltdowns, but they're
Right.
pretty epic. After she calmed down from that, we had a conversation, and she asked me, she was really afraid that I was not going to adopt her anymore
Right.
because of this, and I told her, I said, just because we act like butt heads sometimes doesn't mean we don't love each other.
Right.
I said, if that were the case, I didn't love you to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm still going to adopt you.
Right. Yeah, and I think that a lot of kids go through that. We see that with our kid. One, sometimes they're testing us to see if we're still going to adopt them. So they kind of intentionally, not intentionally do this stuff to see if we're going to still stick with them
Yeah,
through the whole ordeal.
yeah.
And then secondly, they have a lot of feelings going on. And if you saw Wednesday's show with our attorney, Nick Venuti, that's one of the things that we were talking about with him is, you know, even though all this stuff happened in their life before us, they still love those bio parents. Those are their parents, and they still have things that are, you know, going on and that type of thing. And so they have to process all that. But also as parents, we have to process all of that.
Yes.
You know, I know the stories of all of my kids, and it was really hard when I first started fostering and adopting. Well, how could you love them? They did this, this, and this. And then it took me time to realize that, you know what, that's still their parents, that's still their bio parents, and you come to that. So, when we come back, do you think we can get Jordan on here to talk with us?
Yes.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit with Jordan, see what she has to say about all this adoption stuff right here. From meth to reunification, Patty's going to be right here to share her story.
The conversation starts here on Foster Life.
Welcome back to Foster Life. We're here with Renee and Jordan, and we're talking about adoption. So, Jordan, how old are you now?
I am 19.
How old were you when you first got adopted, when you got adopted? So you came there when you were 16, and you got adopted when you were...
I was 17 when I got adopted.
So about a year later. And then now, how's it been being adopted?
Can I say it depends on the day?
It depends.
Hey,
Hey,
that's
that's
fine.
good. Hey, I think that's fair game.
I think being a child in any scenario, it depends on the day on if you like your parents or not.
Being the child, being the parent, it depends on the day. I'll tell you what, this week I've been kind of sick, and I I'm not real popular at the house right now, let me tell you. So when did you know that you wanted Renee to adopt you? Like, what was did it just happen over time, or was there a moment?
No, I was pretty quick about it. Like, I knew what I wanted.
Uh-huh.
I knew I wanted her to adopt me in just a few months of being there.
Really? Mm-hmm. Can I say something? You guys look alike.
We get that a lot.
You do? Because I'm sitting here looking at both of you, and I'm just like,
Are you sure?
are you sure that she's adopted, or did you just want to be on TV?
I have the proof.
So when you were going through the adoption process, was there kind of ups and downs during that process, or how did you feel during it?
I was terrified.
Terrified?
I was at some points because I was afraid that she wouldn't want me, or she would change her mind at the last moment.
Yeah.
And be like, I don't want you here anymore.
Uh-huh.
But I kind of just mellowed that out and
Yeah.
stuck with it. So
I made a huge mistake once. I have a 21-year-old that we adopted when he was 18, and him and I had gotten into a little argument, and I said, "This is my house. You're gonna live by my rules." And he took off. And when I went and found him, the breaking point for him is he thought when I said it was my house, that it wasn't his house. Mm-hmm. And so he felt like he wasn't a part of, and you know what? I don't say that saying anymore. This is their house, this is our house, this is,
I've said that, yes. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and he really felt like I meant that I wasn't going to adopt him and he wasn't a part of our family because it was my house and it was my rules. And so I can understand how you feel that way. Our son felt kind of terrified that same way, and he was kind of up and down. So now, do you have that fear?
No, not at all.
Yeah, you know that she's always going to be there for you and be a part of your life.
Even if she doesn't like me that day.
Yeah. And there's some days that we don't like each other, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the good thing is that when you're a part of a family, and this is what I tell my boys, no matter what the day looks like, at the end of the day, we're still a family, and we still love each other and care about each other. We might not like each other right now, but we're still a part of that family. So what's been the highlight of you being with your mom?
I don't know how to answer that.
Huh? Is there like one thing that you guys do together that you really enjoy? Is there?
I enjoy her cooking.
You enjoy her cooking?
She's a chef, so you know.
Oh yeah. Does she cook together?
We don't really cook together necessarily. I help her out with a few kind of things, but I just mainly enjoy food.
Does she make? So she bakes, right?
She does.
Oh. Do you bake vegan?
Not a lot because we're not vegan.
Oh my gosh, I'm vegan, and I would love a baker that bakes vegan.
But I could.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. I like that kind of stuff. So you like to cook together. Is there any other hobbies or things that you guys do together that you really like to do?
Not that I can think of.
Well, my question would be, was it more of a friendship relationship whenever you came into the home, or was it more like, oh, this is going to be my mom, so I need to
This is
act like
going to
she's
be my mom.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
going to be my mom.
I wondered about that. I know sometimes whenever you get an older child, it's kind of like, oh, we're going to become buddies.
Right.
It's more of a friendship than it is a...
See, my son is the one that's 21. He came to me right before he was 18, and he had been in residential for a long time and did the independent living program. So with him, it is that way. Him and he's more like my best buddy because he was very independent when he came to us. He just wanted a family.
Right.
And so yes, he is a part of our family, but he is more a buddy because he really didn't need a lot of direction or that type of thing because he had been in the independent living program. But you came there at 16, and that's still
And even at
quite-
16, she was pretty adamant about being self-sufficient, and she could do things on her own.
Right.
And she could for the most part. We just had, correct a few things, but yeah, for the most part, she was pretty self-sufficient on it.
So what's your house like now? Is there any other kids in your home, or how is things set up with you guys now? Is it just you two?
No, I have another daughter that I'm going to adopt.
Okay.
We're in the process of adopting now. She's 13.
She's 13.
Yes.
And when did she come to live with you guys?
June of last year.
So how has that been for you, Jordan?
I can be honest, right?
Yeah.
I do not like sharing anything,
Uh-huh.
so we share a room.
Oh, okay.
And that is just one of those things I'm not fully comfortable with, so I'm ready for our move.
Right. So are you guys going to a different home?
Yes, we're looking for and we think we found a house that has 3 bedrooms.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good. So other than that, do you like having a sister in the home?
Other than arguing, yes.
Well, that's just part of siblings.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think that that's just part of, when my kids, because my kids will play together or hang out together really well sometimes, and then sometimes they're all over each other and they're arguing and fighting and all of that kind of stuff. And to me, as a parent, I sit back and think, oh, we must be becoming a family because we're acting just like a family. But the most important thing is, I think, for you, because you're 19, is what a cool thing. You get to mentor her. She's probably somebody that looks up to you and will
Even
get
though
to
she
know
doesn't
you.
act like it, she may look up
I'm
to
really
you.
bossy.
You are?
Yes, I'm really bossy, so I always have a tendency to tell her what to do.
Oh.
But I know it, I just don't know how to control it.
Oh, we call that junior staffing in our house, and they're not allowed to do that.
I try.
We
I
tell
try.
them, do not junior staff. So, so you're a little bossy.
Oh yeah,
So does she usually do what you tell her to do?
depends. Some days she'll make a smart aleck remark,
Oh.
but yeah, she'll be like, "You're not my mom."
So I have to ask, and when we come back, I'm going to ask the question now. We're going to go to commercial, and then you guys think about it and you come up with the answer. So when you were getting ready to do this adoption with this new girl in your home, was this a family decision, or how did that come about? So when we come back, we're going to talk about how that all came about right here.
On Foster Life.
Right. From meth to reunification, Patty's gonna be right here to share her story.
The conversation starts here on Foster Life.
Welcome back to Foster Life. Today we're talking adoption with Renee and Jordan. So there's been another addition.
Yes.
Sis
Yes.
came. Now, how did that come about again? Just refresh our memory a little bit.
I had been on a hold, not taking on more kids,
Mm-hmm.
and then she graduated from high school, and I had talked to her prior to that about taking on more kids and whether she was ready, trying to get her ready. And then when I took myself off of the hold, it was the next week, I got a call for Sis, and I said yes.
So how many homes had Sis been in?
15 before me. I'm 16.
So you're home number 16.
Yes.
And from what I understand, she had some elevated behaviors.
Yes.
And so how has that experience been taking on somebody new with some elevated behaviors that came into the home?
She's actually been very good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen the behaviors that she's exhibited in other homes because she's got a fear of being kicked out.
Uh-huh.
It's been a little bit trying for Jordan, I think, because she's had to learn to share her bedroom until we can find another place. But
Right.
Yeah.
Our bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah, so have you liked having a sister around? I mean, besides Sharon, for the most part, have you liked having a sister around?
I like having her around. I've had siblings prior, so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of missed having them. I was ready for another sibling.
Mm-hmm.
We're two completely different people, though. She's definitely athletic, and I am not.
Well, that's okay. But so here's the deal. I talked to Sis when we were at break, and we were kind of going through some stuff. And one thing that I noticed is that this adoption thing is very special to her because I think she was kind of at a point where she didn't know if this was ever going to happen. Is that right?
Yeah.
And she had a failed adoption.
Yes.
We had a son that had a failed adoption, and it affects them in a big way. And I think it took him, even after the adoption, I think he still struggled with, were we going to give up on him? And he's done thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage to our home and to things. But I think now at 17, he finally realizes that they're not going anywhere. They're
Right.
going to stand beside me. And I think when I was talking to Sis, I think one thing that was interesting to me was her emotions and feelings towards you guys. So how did the adoption come up? Did Sis bring it up? Did you guys start the conversation? How did that conversation start for her to become a part of your little family?
Well, kind of like Jordan, we knew when she came to us that she wanted to be adopted.
Right.
And so I said, well, let's give it six months to make sure you want to be with us,
Right.
because you may decide that you don't really want to be here.
Right.
And I've asked her several times, is this what you want? And she says yes. And Jordan and I had talked about it prior, and we both want to adopt her because it's a family thing. It's not just me adopting
Right.
her.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of how it came about.
And I think that that's really important. In all of the adoptions that we've done, we've sat down and talked about it as a family. And it's nice when your kids say, well, they're kind of part of the family already,
Yeah.
you know, and so they want to move forward with that adoption. But I think it's important when you're making those decisions to adopt that it's not just a parent thing. This is a family thing, and it's a decision that you want to make as a family. So now Sis gets to still see her siblings.
Yes.
And we know they're siblings actually, and so and how has that worked out?
It's been great working with Kathy, her sibling's mom. She's very open to meeting us. I mean, it's been wonderful.
Right.
Because I know how important that is to Sis to see her brothers.
My mom came from a family of 13, and her mom passed giving birth to the youngest one, and so the younger ones were all adopted out. And that's one thing that my mom always said in her life is, I'm so glad that my adopted parents kept me in contact with all of my siblings, and my mom had a really close relationship with all 12 of her brothers and
That must
sisters.
have been pretty tough,
Oh yeah.
just to keep in contact with all.
Yep,
all
and my grandparents that adopted my mom,
Mhm.
my grandparents were really good at taking like little trips because they didn't all live in Colorado, so they lived in Wyoming and Nebraska and Illinois and stuff, and they would take little car trips with them and make sure that they got to see their brothers and sisters and
That's
that
awesome.
type of thing, and it was really important to them. And we also have a son whose sisters are not with us, and we kind of do that thing, and it just makes our family just a little bigger
Yeah.
because we have them as well and,
Yeah.
and that type of thing.
Well,
Now,
somebody
do you-
to talk to whenever you have problems as well. you as a mom, I mean, it might be good to have that somebody to contact and say, hey, my child's doing this. What did you do in this
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah.
And with our son, we talk to the other foster family, and I'll say, he's been doing this. Oh, yeah, she does that all the time, too, and it drives me nuts. And so we can kind of, bounce things off of each other, and that's kind of nice because they come from the same background. Do you see any of your siblings?
I do not.
You don't see any of your siblings?
No, I do not.
Yeah. So is that something that in the future you think that you might want to do?
I hope to see my siblings again eventually.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. So you're 19 now and out of school. So what are you doing? What's your life like now?
I still live at home. I go to cosmetology at Paul Mitchell.
Cool. And you still live at home?
I do.
Are you going to stay at home for a while?
I plan on it.
Oh, good. My
Stay there while you
21-year-old,
can.
I don't think he's ever going to move out, and I hope that he doesn't ever move out. No, he will eventually, but it's funny, he has a girlfriend and stuff, and so I'll kind of poke to see, because I'm nosy, if he's even thinking in that direction, and he'll just look at me and says, if you're trying to ask me if I'm moving out, I'm not. I'm staying right here. And I'm like,
See, Jordan's told me she's going to live with me until she's 40.
yeah. Well, that's good. I can take any of my kids and they can live with me as long as they want because I enjoy having them around, even when times are tough. Well, it was really good having you on the show today. Is there anything else that you want us to know about your guys' adoption or family that you think might be helpful for people out there who are going through the process or thinking about going through the process?
I just say, even if you're scared, do it. The end result is far better than the nervousness and the being scared.
And if you like older kids, which I do, I love, and I can tell Renee, I can tell that you really love the older ones too, and that's your thing, man, don't pass up on it.
No.
Don't let your nerves, because my older kids that I've adopted, they're my pride and joy. And I'll tell you what, I had a lady tell me one time, well, you could never love those boys the way I love my own kids. And I beg to differ. I don't care what age I got them. Yeah.
This is
I
my
love
kid.
them. Yeah, and they are our
Yes.
kids, and they were planned to be with us. I believe that, and I beg to differ with anybody who says that I can't love my kids like they love their kids, because I love my kids too. And I'll tell you, if you ever want to test me, just go against my kid. Whether he's wrong, right, or indifferent, you'll see how much I love him. I guarantee it. Coming up on Monday, Courtney is going to be back
Finally.
from Florida. You were in Florida, she was in Florida. You guys haven't seen each other for a while.
No,
you guys
I
kinda
honestly
filled
miss
in.
her. I don't know if she misses me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure she does. And she'll be back on Monday, and we'll be right here talking. If you would like us to be a part of your summer, we are going to be on a 15-city tour. Rob and Tristan on tour for Foster Life. We're going to do 15 cities. We'll be doing 2-hour seminars for foster parents. You can get training hours for that. Email us at fostertv.producer@gmail.com. If you would like to put together a workshop for bio parents to learn from Tristan and I, we will be doing 2-hour workshops in those 15 cities for bio parents as well. Producer.fostertv@gmail.com. And or if you would like to be a part of one of our fundraisers that we're doing a fundraiser on Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee at Legends. And that'll be coming up this summer. Also in Loveland, Colorado, where I was born and raised.
Good old stomping grounds.
Yeah, and I have a lot of family there, so it'll be really good. And we're doing a fundraiser there, and then hopefully in Florida. So we'll be hitting those places this summer as well. We'd love to meet you, love to see you. Till Monday, when Courtney's back. See you later. right here on Foster Life.